Hi everyone, this is part 2 of bringing awareness to the lower body, increasing strength, flexibility, and range of motion in the ankles and the knees. So let's begin standing. I have a chair to help with balance, and we'll feel into all 4 corners of our feet. I like to bring a hand to a chair for some support and allow the feet to be a bit wider than the hips. And I just begin to rock forward and back. So shifting forward, shifting back, noticing how the weight eases into one leg and then the other. And then I begin to explore the movement, not only through the soles of the feet, but also in through the ankles and the knees. So rocking forward, perhaps the heels lift, rocking back, anchoring into the heels and lifting up through the toes. Just trying that a few times. Lifting up through the great toe side and shifting onto the small toe side of the foot. Just rocking a little bit here and there, noticing sensation that might ease into the sides of the lower legs. And then shifting the weight to the great toe side of the foot, lifting up through the small toe. Sensation will shift through the inner aspect of the legs, and then you can sort of rock back and forth through each side. Just increasing sensation and awareness through all aspects of the feet. And as that movement continues, sort of rocking forward and back and side to side, we have this awareness of ankles and knees and hips. So everything working together to support each other for movement. Holding onto a chair or a wall for extra support, we can shift the weight into one leg and then bring the other leg up. Maybe just starting with the heel, touching in with the toes, the pads of the toes, and then rocking back, lifting up those toes, and maybe even rolling all the way onto the top of the foot. So finding a completely different stretch there through the front aspect of the lower leg. Can rock back onto the sole of the foot, shift it over again, the toes through the top of the foot. Switch sides. Just slowly unpeel the other heel, shift the weight back, lifting the toes. Notice when you lower the toes and lift the heel, maybe the pads of the toes are making contact with the mat or the floor. And then rolling onto the top of the foot. Toes are curled under here, heel is lifted. Rocking back and trying that again. Noticing how the sensation will float up the leg all the way into the thigh and the hip as well. From here, we can practice through both legs, lifting heels and then lowering, maybe shifting the weight into the back body and lifting up through the toes. Just these small, subtle movements to ground through the low body, but also bring strength into those ankles and knees. Perhaps we shift the weight into one leg, unpeel the heel of the opposite leg, and then bring that knee up. Circle around through the ankle. One direction, and then shifting into the other direction. Just feeling that out. And there's these beautiful hinges, of course, from the knee to the hip, this angle here. So finding that lift, and then the lower, the knee points down towards the floor. So just bringing in this movement, lifting the knee, lowering the knee. Just can relax the toes of that lifted leg, or you can activate them and just notice the difference. Maybe we'll circle out through the hip and then change the direction. And switch it out to the opposite leg. So lowering the lifted leg, taking time to find your center. Unpeeling the heel, lifting the foot, lifting the knee, and bringing some circles in to the opposite ankle. I like to go in one direction and then change the direction. And then soften through the toes, but keep the knee lifted. And then we'll lower the knee down towards the floor, beginning this movement, this hinge action through the hips. It's as if we're carrying the knee and the ankle and the foot along for the ride here. And then beginning some circles. And then the opposite direction. For continued stability, I'm going to shift the chair to the front. So I'll be able to hold on to the back of the chair. And I'll just bring my feet a little wider than the hips. So I always have something to hold on to, but you can bring your hands to your hips here. And I think for visibility's sake, I'll move the chair. So hands to hips, feet are a little wider. We're still rocking forward and back, finding that lift through the heels and then the toes. And then we'll bring a bend into one knee and then the other. Just working our way from side to side, kind of putting it all together. So the toes can be facing forward, or you can widen your stance even more and point the toes out. Whatever feels comfortable in your body. We're just bringing flexion into the ankles and the knees, and also into the hips. So just shifting it out from side to side. So I'm bringing awareness to specific areas of the body, but continue to breathe naturally, utilizing this concept of whole body breathing, natural flow of breath, no force, no major effort. Just exploring movement. So from this wider stance position, see if you can access the small toe, the great toe, the inner heel, and the outer heel, and just observe the low body. I find that I become rigid in the ankles and the knees and the hips, and I tend to lock my legs. So I'm always trying to find that middle ground of having a little bit of fluidity and softness within the joints. And I'll take some time here to bring the gaze up towards the ceiling, or where a wall meets the ceiling if you're inside, or bring your gaze up towards the sky. And then hinge at the hips and allow the torso to be parallel to the floor. We're just rocking the weight forward and back. And just noticing sensation here in the backs of the legs, behind the knee. And then maybe bringing in a little bit of movement here. So flexing into the knees, the ankles, and the hips. Finding that middle ground. I have a couple of blocks here. You can also use the edge of a chair, the top of the back of a chair, or you can turn the chair around, use the seat. Just so you can see me, I'll use the block. And then find release through the upper body. So the head and neck can hang. I like to just utilize a bit of momentum from side to side, releasing through the low back. And just bringing this whole awareness of the low body together. You can shift the weight onto the toes and lift the heels. Shift the weight back, lift the toes. Just rock like this for a few rounds. And then maybe we can walk the hands towards the right foot. Stretch it out through the left side. Walk the hands back through center, towards the left foot. Find flexion in the left knee, the ankle. Stretch it out through the right side. And then linger wherever it feels comfortable within the stretch, and then keep switching it out from side to side. I always think of a crab walking on sand heading towards the ocean. Making its way slowly. And then coming back through center with the hands on the seat of a chair or on a few blocks. And just toe heel the feet a little closer to the hips here. Bring a flexion into the knees. And then moving into that wider squat position. So the hands can rest on your support prop, or you can bring the forearms to the thighs. Press the palms together and just begin to shift around a little bit through the hips and the knees. Notice what's happening in the muscles, the sensation in the legs when you shift from side to side. We'll just flow here from this lower squat into a fold. And then it's your choice for how deep you want to go in your squat. I like to lift one heel and then work my way from side to side in a wider angle squat. Tapping into different areas of each foot, maybe lifting the toes on one side and then the other. Maybe even adding the arms here. So opening up, switching it out. Finding some twisting within the spine, some strengthening as you shift the weight from side to side. And then we'll find that middle place and slowly work our way back up. Forearms on the thighs or on the support prop, and hang here in a wider fold. Just shifting it out from side to side, hanging the head heavy. Take a few rounds of breath here. Noticing if the breath can shift into the back body. Breathing into all of the connections that we can make from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head, from the front body to the back body. And then we can toe heel the feet a little closer to the center line and just hang as you unravel back into standing. We'll take a stretch from side to side, just allowing one arm to slide down one leg and the opposite arm to lift. Finding that grounded stability through the feet, all four corners of the feet. And allowing that energy to rise up into the ankles and the knees, thighs and hips. Just bringing this movement into the upper body. In an effortless, flowing way. So from here, just to close out the practice, there's always room for rest. If you would like to just bring your body back down towards the mat and hands towards the low belly and maybe the upper chest. Or if you have some extra time, you can rotate and have the legs up the wall. Just take a little bit of time for yourself to become aware of different areas of the body and assimilate these movements to hopefully assist your practice.